Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of Young Storytellers. I just want to thank everyone for joining us for the Young Storytellers Back to School Town Hall. We know that we can't wait to get back into the classroom, and we are so glad that so many of you are here to be a part of that. Despite the complications of the past year and a half and pivoting our programs to the virtual space, our focus remains on raising the voices of young people, connecting with one another, and having fun. And now, as we begin the transition back to in-person programs and activities, we know that we can't stop connecting with one another through story. 2021 has already been a year of many successes and, again, a fair share of challenges. But we look forward to celebrating all that we have accomplished as a community. I feel confident that we will continue to adapt and be resilient with the grace, patience, and support of everyone in our community. And perhaps most importantly, we are fully prepared, energized, and excited to return back to school campuses later this year with safety front of mind to provide our programs to students across Los Angeles. This evening, you'll meet the Young Storytellers team, including some new faces, learn more about our efforts to promote equity and justice for our entire community, be presented with impact data from our virtual programs, hear about some exciting new initiatives, and most importantly, learn how you can help us transition back to in-person programs safely for our students and volunteer community. Please feel free to submit any questions via the Q&A function, and we will be sure to answer them at the end. Thank you again for being here with us and for helping us raise the voices of our young storytellers. It is my pleasure to introduce Vera Lim, our training specialist, for a land acknowledgement.
Thanks, Bill. Our mission at Young Storytellers is to raise voices, and it's important for us to acknowledge and bring to light that we inhabit spaces where Indigenous people's voices often aren't heard. Taking a cue from Indigenous practices, land acknowledgement offers recognition and respect of people that have come before us and continue to live with us. It creates a broader awareness of a region's history and supports larger truth-telling and reconciliation efforts. It also serves as an educational moment, not only of the story of our land's history, but the ongoing story of how land is still being colonized and occupied to the detriment of Indigenous people. We are bringing you today's town hall across the traditional territories of the Tongva and Chumash peoples. By acknowledging the first people that inhabited and continue to inhabit this land, it's our hope that our awareness and desire for reconciliation will spread throughout our community and beyond, bringing more equity and visibility wherever Young Storytellers has a presence. This is something that's really important to us, and to explain a little bit more about our pursuit towards equity, I'm excited to introduce Jaylene Chung, our Development and Engagement Director, to talk a bit more about our worldview.
Thanks, Vera. Hi, I'm Jaylene. As you've just heard, we've been doing a lot of work around what it means to raise the voices of everyone, especially those that don't often get heard. We've realized that despite being a nonprofit, we have a great deal of privilege ourselves, both in the sustainability of our work and the resources we have access to. We've also realized that from the founding of Young Storytellers, despite having good intentions and a desire to fill a need, we did not do the work to understand the communities we served, nor did we find out how we could best meet their needs. As we've deepened our understanding of the world and our role in it, we've adapted and grown to better meet the needs of our communities. We've created a set of living, tangible goals that involve every part of Young Storytellers, our staff, board, volunteers, donors, and partners. Some of these include continuing researching and revising our curriculum to be culturally competent and centered on social justice standards, integrating anti-racism and equity conversations into all trainings and onboarding for staff and volunteers, helping our partners to understand our diversity and inclusion goals, particularly those that recruit volunteers for us, restructuring our board, if you go to the next slide, restructuring our board in ways that involve more members from the community, like alumni, parents, and educators. We're also removing a financial donation requirement for board members so that participation is more accessible. We're valuing donations of time and money equally and inviting everyone to be part of our decision-making processes. and outlining ways for us, sorry, my dog is in the background, to take part in reparative actions as an organization, like focusing time and resources in areas that have been most affected by systemic racism and oppression, or giving financial support to BIPOC-led and BIPOC-serving organizations. This is all really exciting. We're really excited about what we've built so far, and we're going to keep coming back to these goals. There's more than what I just listed, so if you want to read more about our worldview, please visit our website at the link. And now we will hear from Esmeralda.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here at this town hall and to be with you all just to get these programs started. So if you go on to the next slide. All right, so for the program last term for the 2020 to 2021 academic year, we had 3 script to stage programs, 33 collaborative story programs, and 3 day of story programs. So, and in total between the fall semester and the spring semester of last year, we serviced a total of 572 students, which was really great. And although it was really difficult navigating from the transition from in-person to virtual, it was really heartwarming to see all of their faces and good reviews on the surveys too. And some major key points to take away from the year that we had last year is school liaisons identified the growth in student self-esteem and the opportunity for collaboration with peers as the greatest benefit to students. One of the benefits of doing virtual is that some of these liaisons were able to sit in and watch the young storytellers' magic. 95% of families experienced that virtual programs as being easily accessible, which was great. And 90% of our volunteers felt like they belonged with the YS community, 82% felt connected to the YS organization, and 93% felt expectations were realistic. So we're really happy that we were still able to have that connection via virtual, and we're very excited to be back in person. And as for this upcoming school year, we're doing things differently. We at Young Storytellers are viewing this as a transitional year and want to do so as safe as possible. So a way that we're doing that is we are separating the amount of collaborative stories programs between the fall semester and the spring semester. So for the script to stage programs, we're going to have tentatively seven script to stage programs for both the fall and the spring. And we're going to have 17 collaborative story programs this fall, and then 21 slated for the spring. And we're estimating to service about 482 students for the total of the academic year. So major key points to keep in mind for all of this is, again, script to stage is both slated for the fall and the spring. Some collaborative stories will be slated for 1 semester, others pending about a 2nd semester. This term, we're not doing a day of story program, which is important to know, and there's going to be no virtual programs this term. We decided to focus on making sure we do this transition as safe as possible back in person, and we're revisiting the potential idea of doing virtual programs to reach those students who wouldn't have the programs in person in the spring. And some schools have opted out in the fall because they want to focus on getting settled into this new way of life and being on campus. So I'm still waiting to hear from other schools, and if they decided to opt out for this fall, we're going to revisit doing it again in the spring. And just to let everyone know, I know that things are always ever changing with COVID cases and protocols always ever changing. There's still some information that we're waiting from the districts in terms of protocols, but just know that we are, keeping updated as much as we can, and the program team is taking it one day at a time. And we appreciate all of your patience with us as you take this journey with us back to in-person programming. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Esmeralda. Hi, I'm Andrea, Community Engagement Strategist. We are so grateful to not only our schools, but also the wonderful volunteers who continue to bring joy to our students through all of the changes that have been happening this past year. So with the new school year upon us, we continue, as Esmeralda said, to take the lead from our school partners around what they deem the best way to continue on-site volunteering. Again, we'll be keeping all of our volunteers as up to date as possible with any new information, but we're excited that our schools are rolling these out. And Katie will now be sharing an overview of what volunteers can expect for the in-person volunteering that will be taking place in the fall. And we do want to keep in mind that more specific guidance and details will be provided at our mentor trainings. So be sure to sign up. We are sending all that information out, and that's where we can make sure we'll have more details for you on the exact processes. So we're going to have Katie share out now.
Thanks, Andrea. So as the team mentioned, this will be a transitioning period for all of us, and we really appreciate your patience and understanding as we navigate what this looks like for our community. So as you may have heard, for the safety of our students and volunteers and their loved ones, we have decided as an organization that all volunteers, staff participating in programs, in-person and activities must be vaccinated for the fall semester. And this is also aligned with our school district requirements as well. So with that being said, all interested in participating volunteers will be prompted to upload a proof of vaccination status. To ease of mind, the proof of vaccination status will not be shared externally. In addition, school districts will have their own channel for you to upload your vaccination status once you are placed at a campus, and that's in order to be cleared to be volunteered. This semester, we are working with 3 major school districts. We're working with Los Angeles Unified School District, Culver City Unified School District, and Burbank Unified School District. And I'll break it down what those requirements look like. And please, with this in mind, as Esmeralda mentioned before, we will not be offering any virtual programming at this time. Our school districts aren't supporting virtual programming this semester, so in order to serve our students, we do need to return in person, and we are committed to doing that as safely as possible. So for LAUSD has an extensive protocol online, and this is the most updated information that we have. So one, as mentioned before, mandatory vaccination is required. Mandatory mask usage will also be required, whether indoors and outdoors on campus. A TB assessment will also be required, and this will be done through your healthcare provider. And fourth, assigned volunteers must apply for a single sign-on, and this will specifically apply to only LAUSD. So a single sign-on is needed in order to have access to Daily Pass. And Daily Pass is what you will be using weekly before you enter onto campus, and this is where you'll upload your vaccination status. This is also the place where you can upload testing results and also make appointments for testing, and that must all uploaded be to Daily Pass. And from there, once that is all cleared, you will be getting a barcode, and that's what you will be able to scan to get onto campus. There's really no way to bypass this, so all of these steps needs to kind of be done in order to be on campus. And as for the weekly COVID testing, PCR test is the only viable test that they will accept. So that means when you make sure you sign up for COVID testing weekly, just make sure it's the PCR test and not the rapid one. And we will also be providing a list of free sites for you to take your COVID testing at. So that will be provided later on. And with that in mind, we are still receiving details about procedures for our big shows and our one-time volunteers. That includes our actors. So please stay on hold as we kind of have that information later down the line. And as for Culver City, these are kind of the volunteer requirements at this moment. So Culver City is also going to require proof of vaccination. They are also the first district to require vaccinations for students. They will also be requiring weekly COVID testing. More details to follow as to how that information will be channeled. That hasn't been made clear yet. And another is mandatory mask usage, both indoors and outdoors. There's no information from district yet around where volunteers will be submitting this information, so more details will follow around on-site testing and also third-party testing, and we will also follow up with volunteers who are placed at Culver City. And similarly to LAUSD, we don't have any current information on one-time volunteers. And lastly is our Burbank Unified Volunteer requirements. So Burbank does require full vaccination as well, though at Burbank there will be no requirement of weekly COVID testing at this time. They will be requiring a mandatory mask, a TB assessment as well. And this is a separate application specifically for volunteers who will be at Burbank schools. They need to complete an online volunteer application through the Burbank Unified School District website. And we will be providing all of these details for specific volunteers that are categorized under each district. And similarly as well, we don't have any information regarding what big shows will look like and also the requirements for one-time volunteers, meaning our actors. I understand that was a lot of information at once. This is kind of like a general overview and a bullet point of what these requirements look like. We will be providing a volunteer checklist and more information on our mentor resources pages in the coming weeks, but I will also be specifically emailing volunteers who have been placed with all the details and the steps. Please feel free to submit any questions in the chat and we will address them at the end. We understand this is like a very fluid situation and this is the best information that we have at the moment. And to all our volunteers participating this semester, you will be receiving in-depth information at our training. So please sign up for our training if you haven't so just yet. And now I'll pass it on to Pilar and Vera.
Cool, thanks Katie. That was a lot of really important info. Thank you for sharing that out. So hey y'all, I'm Pilar, Education Director here at Young Storytellers. And Vera and I wanted to give you a few updates on the work that our curriculum team has been putting into our educational materials and our programs. So the first is an update on Warner Media Story Lab. So that is a teacher-led program, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, that we do in partnership with Warner Media, where 6th grade students create autobiographical graphic novels. So the updates for that program is that this summer we trained and supported actually some visual arts teachers who led Story Lab. That's actually our first time doing the program with visual arts teachers. We've usually just done it with English language arts teachers. And we've also spent a lot of time this past school year expanding the curriculum from 16 lessons to 20 lessons and refining the program to work nationally. We plan starting this October to roll out the program with LAUSD, who's done the program in the past, but a few other districts. So we'll have more info on those districts very shortly. And I'll pass it on to Vera to share a little bit more info.
Yeah, so this last year, one of our focuses was creating materials for our partner educators. So in addition to adapting our middle school stories program to the virtual space, we also trained teachers to lead the program with their classes, which supported them during a challenging year and gave them a space both to connect with and learn more about their students. We also developed Storytime, a collection of videos inspired by our flagship program, Script to Stage, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. These videos help young writers at home or in the classroom write short scripts inspired by their own interests and lived experiences. As part of this project, we also developed a comprehensive educator guide for teachers to use who would like to lead Storytime activities in their classrooms.
Nice. And then just to piggyback on what Vera was saying about materials for teachers, we want to continue doing that and working directly with our partner teachers this year by continuing to train those teachers to lead our upper grade programs. So that's our middle school stories program and our high school PSA program. We're creating even more learning materials for educators and families and directly for our students. We're doing this kind of work by actually working with one of our corporate partners who is in the process of developing an educational online portal that will house learning materials for teachers, students, and families. So for this specific project, we're developing learning units that are inspired by our partners' content, their intellectual property, and our own content, Storytime. So taking clips from Storytime and developing learning units or lesson plans around them. All of that content will be aligned with English Language Arts Common Core Standards and CASEL core competencies, which if you don't know are basically social emotional learning core competencies. And lastly, something that's very exciting is that this project has allowed us to expand our curriculum team by hiring 3 curriculum consultants who are helping us develop our educational materials. And it's also really exciting that they are all current or former classroom teachers. And then we just really wanted to round out this section by sort of calling out something that in addition to expanding our curriculum team through the hiring of these consultants and another new hire that my teammate Kristen will get into in just a bit, we're really proud to announce that Vera is transitioning out of the curriculum team to take on the enormous task of developing enriching and specialized trainings for our amazing volunteer community.
Yes, I am really excited to be stepping into this role, and we have a lot of exciting mentor trainings and specialized volunteer workshops coming up this year. So on top of the regular mentor trainings to cover sort of the program and how that's going to run, we'll also be doing workshops to be covering topics like how to respond to student anxiety or the social impacts of storytelling, as well as other topics around equity and belonging so that we can better prepare our volunteers to meet the needs of our students and move the mission of the organization forward. And now I'm going to pass it on to Kristen Laurie, our Community and Culture Director, to talk about some new team members.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Vera. And also, I see a lot in the chat of people excited about that. I'm very excited also that someone as amazing as Vera is going to be taking on these trainings and workshops for our community. So very, very exciting. So in addition to that sort of role shift that Vera has had, we've also welcomed a few new folks to our team over the past few months. Some of these folks joined us while we were all working remotely, and we have a couple folks that are joining us this week and next. So we have most of them here tonight. I'm going to invite Ani, Chiazam, and Andrea to join me on screen. So I will wait. There they are. Awesome. So Ani, Andrea, and Chiazam are three of our incredible new team members. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. How about we start with Chiazam, and they are going to share their name, their pronouns, their titles, how long they've been at Young Storytellers, which a couple of them has a very short amount of time, but that's okay, and what they do here at Young Storytellers or what they will be doing. So Chiazam, why don't we start with you? Ani, you can go after Chiazam, and then Andrea, how about you go next?
Thanks, Kristen. Hi, everyone. My name is Chiazam Agu, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the Development and Engagement Specialist. I support communication and fundraising, and I've been in my current role since May this year, but I started as an intern in September 2020.
Welcome, Chiazam. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kristen, for the space. My name is Ani Cooney. My pronouns are he, him, his. If you can't remember that name, just think of Ani DeFranco or Anakin Skywalker, whatever your preference is. And I'm super excited to come join the Young Storytellers team as the operations specialist. I'll be overseeing program logistics and managing the program side of our organization database, proving to you all that storytellers and writers can be organized too. It's my second day here at Young Storytellers, and I'm really looking forward to many more days to come and to learning the ins and outs of our community here today. So thank you for having me.
Nice. Thank you for that. Yes, hello again. Hello everyone. My name is Andrea Olsen Esparza. I am a cat mom who takes my cats on walks on a leash. I'm that person. I'm also the new middle and high school program specialist. I'm really excited to support. I'll be helping support communication and coordination with all of the Young Storytellers middle and high school partner teachers and schools. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome. Andrea is going to be starting with us next week, so really grateful that she could be here tonight. Thank you. Welcome, all three of you. So excited to have you here. It is such an honor to be able to expand our team in what has been a really intense time over the past year and a half. So we're so excited to bring in new team members to help just grow the programs and the work that we do. So welcome. Very excited that you're here. And then last but not least, we have Rachel Pierce-Jones. You can see her lovely face on the screen right now. Rachel's on vacation at the moment, but she's our curriculum specialist. Rachel started with us a few months ago to work on the Story Lab program that Pilar was talking about, and she has grown into our curriculum specialist role. So Rachel's helping with a couple of specific projects, but she will also be taking on just working with our curriculum, evolving it, especially through that lens of social justice that we talked about earlier. So welcome, everyone. I can't wait for everyone to meet these new folks and for them to meet all of you as well. All right, so I'm going to pass it back to Bill, I think, to wrap everything up.
Thank you so much, Kristen, and thanks to everybody. I just want to say it's been the honor of my professional life to have the opportunity to work alongside such an engaged, passionate team of people. We have seen over the past year and a half, and as we continue into this new reality, that young people need to experience that their voice matters and that their thoughts, feelings, and words can have a positive impact on the world in which they live. Young people and all of us, we're coming out of a year of isolation from one another. We believe strongly that storytelling is the most positive and powerful tool that we all can use to heal during this time. There are many ways that you can get involved to support our work. Most importantly, we ask you to come out and volunteer. Please head to our website, youngstorytellers.com/volunteer, sign up for a mentor training, and we will get you placed in a school this semester. If you have any questions at all, you can email Katie. Her email address is on the screen. And I think one of the most incredible features of Young Storytellers is the strength and generosity of our volunteer community. But we don't want you to take our word for it. Come out and see it for yourself. Please join us next Thursday night, September 2nd at 6 o'clock for After Dark. It's our volunteer appreciation event and the official kickoff to the new school year. Whether you volunteered for 20 years, maybe you hopped on and did it once on Zoom this last semester, or you just want to learn more about us and get involved, this event's for you. Email Andrea by Thursday to RSVP. There will be drinks and food and great conversation. It'll be nice to share a space together. We've covered a lot. It doesn't look like we have any questions. Oh, here's a question. Is there a list of LAUSD schools participating this fall? Thank you, Kathy. Esmeralda, do you want to jump in on that and answer that?
Yes. So we do have a tentative list, although just to let you know, there are a couple that that we're still waiting to hear from. Let's see if I could even just drop. Let's see. I can have Katie provide a list of schools that are participating in the fall via email, but just to list off the tentatively ones that we have now off of this list, I have Betty P. Coldwater, Palms Elementary School, Beethoven, Broadway Elementary School, Crescent Heights Elementary School, Micheltorena, Playa del Rey, Valley View, Westminster, Wilshire Crest Elementary School, Latona Elementary School, Lancashire Elementary School, Saturn, and Vine. That's the list, tentative list right now for LAUSD schools.
That's great. Thank you, Esmeralda. Oh. And thank you for that question.
Yes. Oh, and I also just saw Jaylene's comment. I know Kathy is asking about Melrose. Unfortunately, as of yesterday, Melrose decided to opt out of the program just so that they can get settled in this semester, and then we can come back stronger in the spring.
Great. Thank you, Esmeralda. And yes, boo-hoo is right. We're sad to miss our Melrose mentors and students, but know that we'll be back stronger than ever in the spring. And that's the case with many of our schools. I think our approach to this is we are availing ourselves to the schools to provide, the high quality programming that their students have relied on for many years. But we also understand that they have a lot going on right now. And we are just going to be patient and as responsive to their needs as we possibly can be and continue supporting them. So does anyone else have any questions? If you do, throw it in the chat or in the Q&A. Otherwise, I think we will just say thank you so much. Please remember to sign up to volunteer We'd love to see many of you at After Dark if you can make it next week. And thank you for helping us raise the voices of young people across Los Angeles, one story at a time. Really looking forward to seeing everybody in a physical space again soon. Thank you all. Stay well.